the Florida 6 race, which was a Trump plus 30 district, where the margin was cut in half, and we'll see where it ultimately lands, but we know at minimum it was cut in half to around 15 or 16 points. There are 60 Republicans in the House of Representatives who currently represent districts where Trump did worse than 15 or 16 points. And every single one of those districts, there's now a target on the backs of those House Republicans.
You think this in Wisconsin was a referendum on Musk?
Well, I could look at it from another direction. I think the Schimmel campaign was really struggling, both financially and just in terms of traction before Musk got involved. He may have actually, give him whatever boost he had late. But it didn't solve for the issue that the Republicans have, which are these low propensity voters, and trying to get them to turn out for things that are not Donald Trump. You heard Elon Musk, I think correctly, try to tie a vote in the Supreme Court race to much larger, macro political issues, but it wasn't enough. And so that is an equation the Republicans have to solve for. I don't think it's going to be an issue in 28, but look, you got a midterm between now and then. It will be an issue in these midterms, and that's something the party strategists are going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
He came to the state. He talked about cutting Medicaid, Social Security through DOGE, bringing those issues up.
Actually, he never talked. He explicitly said in Green Bay that he would not cut Social Security.
Well,
that's exactly what he said.
He talked at his rallies.
No, other people said about that, but I was there. I watched it. Okay. He did not say he was going to cut Medicaid.
Other people at his rallies
tried to lie.
who work for DOGE, who work for Elon Musk's organization, talked about those issues.
No, I was at the rally. Not a one of them. That's what protesters said, but nobody there actually said that.
Do you think that there are risks here?
There are. If people believe the lies that people are saying about that.
Being associated,
but that's not at all what they said. If people believe that Medicaid and Medicare is going to be touched, that's just a flat, outright lie. What he talked about are people who are over 120 years old, who clearly are not alive.
Well, the reason I brought it up is
Social Security or Medicaid.
Okay, well,
that's totally wrong. I think
just to sort this out, the reason I brought this up is because the claim here is that there's massive, widespread fraud, and that's all they're addressing. That's obviously a disputed claim because it's not true that 120-year-old people are getting Social Security checks. The checks stop at a certain point automatically because those checks and balances
But those Social Security numbers get counted for various parts of the federal government. So they don't get a benefit directly to those people, but they count for money that gets allocated to different departments in their budget. And they shouldn't be. If somebody's no longer alive, they shouldn't be able to count that.
I guess my fundamental question was, what are the risks here of Elon dabbling in elections for Republicans going forward?
Well, again, I think in the end, he's going to have to continue to make the case. Part of the reason why, when we talked about our recall, what flipped things for us early on in that recall process, Time magazine called me Dead Man Walker. And the reason was because all the narratives coming out from the press, coming out from the left, were about all these horrible, egregious things. Once we started to give examples of things we were actually doing, not the things the press said, not the things that our opponent said, but the things that we were actually doing, when we ended up going before the voters in the final election in the recall, we actually won by more votes than we did. So I think that what's paramount for him or anyone else aligned with him is keep giving actual examples of what they're doing. Set aside things like Social Security and make it abundantly clear that that's not being touched. But if there's waste, fraud, or abuse, spell it out, make the case, and bring it to the voters.
I think you saw a repudiation of the fact that Donald Trump got elected to seal the southern border and to reduce the price of eggs. Donald Trump has come to Washington, D.C. and flipped things upside down in a way that people do not want. And so today you had, I forget the department because they shut a new department down every day. But you had employees, I think it was HHS today, I can't recall. It was at HHS?
At the health department.
Yeah, at the health department standing in line today, and they didn't know who was going to be hired and who wasn't. And so you can sit here and say that, oh, we're not going to cut Medicaid, we're not going to do this. But the people who are in charge of running those programs don't have jobs today. And so it's hard to effectuate and put those policies in place if Elon Musk is here running roughshod on the government.
Elections, it was 10-1 that the Democrats outspent the Republicans. And yes, Democrats are obviously more
in the Florida races.
In the Florida races, it's 10-1. So talk about buying an election. But you said that President Trump was elected to secure the border. He was elected to lower the price of eggs. Guess what? Both of those things have happened. Mortgage rates have also come down. Oil prices have come down.
If you think the kitchen table issues today, If you think that people are sitting at home today and saying that their prices have gone down today, then you need to go outside
I'm simply saying that the egg prices have come down, the oil prices have come down, mortgage rates have come down.
That's a fact. Waffle House still has a 50-cent surcharge on eggs. Okay.
I went shopping the other day. And
I think the other thing that's really important to point out is the referendum in Wisconsin. The voter ID referendum, which was President Trump's one huge priority for President Trump, voter IDs, and it passed by double digits, and that I think was also a very big win. So
hey man, Bakari man, you ain't stopped taking L since I seen you cry.
This is why
I knew you was a hoe.
Are literally at 21% approval rating right
it's just like they'll try to make a point and then they'll get debunked, and it's like they get mad. It's like, well, you have to go talk to people. But but your original statement, the egg prices are down, oil is down, the border's secure.
You're a dumb nigga because
the mortgage is down.
The egg prices were up.
Well, if you think people are not happy, listen, people are happy with Trump. 54% approval rating. That's an all-time high.
Are you serious?
21% approval rating for Democrats because of people like you. You won't stop pushing this bullshit. You won't stop and admit you're wrong. You won't. And that's the problem. You guys want to be right. You're going to keep beating that dead horse until you keep digging that hole for yourself until you can't get out. And right now, it's not looking like you guys are turning this thing around. And that's unfortunate.
I like to say, she simply said, well, I'm just simply saying the oil prices are down. And that's a fact right now in 2022. Gas was at $3.
Drill,
right
baby,
now,
drill.
it is at $2. It is almost a $4 lower than with Trump than with Joe Biden. And that's a fact. I don't understand what is his point here. It's literally no point. I just haven't seen Democrats actually make a point yet, bro.
Well,
it's been so much.
They finna make a point about what happened today, though. So
that they won this election.
No, I'm talking about we seen the stock market. They're gonna try to make that as a point now.
Well, you better know what you're doing in the stock market, and you can win in that. But we're gonna see what happens with the tariff stuff. But hey,
you know they're gonna use that crazy.
Hey, at the end of the day, though, the American people are still approving what he's doing.
Yeah,
so that's all that really matters.
It's crazy that they never bring up the $5 trillion that have been put into our economy. You know, they never want to bring that up.
They never want to bring up anything positive that's happened. They just keep framing these same issues that they were arguing during the election, and they don't understand that that's why they lost. Now they're choosing every unpopular hill to die on. They're trying to defend the illegal gang members from getting deported. Oh, it's wrong. I saw this. That fat nutty professor dude today said, even if you prove to me they're gang members and they're illegal, I don't believe that they should be deported to a foreign country. What?
Crushing blow for Democrats who had hoped against hope. The Associated Press has called Florida's 6th district race for Republican Randy Fine, and in minutes, the polls will close for Florida's first congressional district in 1 hour. The polls will close in Wisconsin's pivotal Supreme Court race between radical Susan Crawford and conservative Brad Schimmel.
Radical.
The judge race will decide whether the Wisconsin districts get redrawn. They're going to try to gerrymander Wisconsin to remove 2 Republican seats. And as you know, the House is currently Republican by a razor-thin margin, which means that losing this judge race has a good chance of causing Republicans to lose control of the House. If you lose control of the House, there will be nonstop impeachment hearings.
You bet there will be. Joining me now, Byron York, chief political correspondent for the Washington Examiner and a Fox News contributor.
About abortion in Wisconsin. That's a very big deal, so I don't want to downplay that. But redistricting is really huge. Right now, the Wisconsin congressional delegation is 6 Republicans and 2 Democrats. And Democrats really, really, really want to change that. Cases are going to come, redistricting cases are going to come before the Supreme Court, and that's where a Democratic, we know this is nonpartisan, but a Democratic victory would really help them.
Maybe Mandela Barnes and the other panel in New York saying that he thought that this was in a lot of ways, Mandela Barnes, for people who don't know, former lieutenant governor of Wisconsin, Democrat, saying that in a lot of ways he thought this was a referendum on the involvement of Elon Musk, and we saw Judge Crawford basically making Elon Musk her opponent, not Judge Schimmel, saying like, I didn't know I was going to be, I'm just a humble caveman. I didn't know I was going to be running against, a little nod to a Saturday Night Live skit, that's not a slam on the judge. I didn't know I was running against the richest man in the world, and as has been pointed out, this is a state where your own citizens own the football team. So do you think that was compelling?
I think it's an interesting tactic. It's a little Saul Alinsky-ish in the sense that you've got George Soros and J.D. Pritzker,
the media,
Reid Hoffman, and all these billionaires who've spent far more than Musk did in this, and now pointing.
J.D. Pritzker is the governor of Illinois, isn't he?
Well, collectively,
he's a
if
billionaire.
you look at all the money from outside that was given to her, again, 77% came from out of state, only 15% came from Schimmel, and collectively. A number of the analysis.
I'm just saying, like in terms of the money from
individually,
J.B. Pritzker.
if you look at the whole outside money that came from out of the state, it's clearly.
But you don't think it was a referendum on Musk at all, though?
Oh, I think it had a part.
Oh, wow.
I think a lot of different issues. I think, again, in Wisconsin, you see that flip back and forth. We're much more so than even like a state like Virginia, which historically has gone the opposite of the White House. You see a reaction one way and a reaction the other way. It's why in the last 35 years, there's only been one time a governor has won when their own party's in the White House. So many of these things were multiple factors, not just Trump, not just Musk, but I think multiple. Those are the easiest ones to cover.
Makes sense.
But I think it was much more ingredient than that.
Yeah, so I just love how he broke that down too nice, man. He was cooking right here.
Oh, he's a former governor of Wisconsin.
No, that makes sense though. Like if one party wins and they're in the White House and the party's gonna be like, well, we gotta go fight for these seats. We finna have to vote.
Duh.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I mean, that happens. That's a historical thing. So it's not just a victory for the Democrats.
They're taking it as a victory because now they can gerrymander, rezone, and gain those 2 House seats.
This is how I know God is real. Because I was literally about to go to a sleep doctor because I really struggled to sleep. He was. And then we actually just happened to,
ran across Beam.
Find out about Beam. And so I was okay, I'll try this first. And it has literally solved my problem. Like, I think the biggest keys here are what are the ingredients? We got the melatonin, the magnesium, and the theanine. All of those like combined, because I've heard of all these things separately, but when you combine them all, it's like you get in the bed and you feel like something's weighing you down. Like that's how you don't feel like moving. And then you wake up and
I remember you said that I felt like I sunk in the bed.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Yeah, and it helps me relax my mind before I get to bed. So, you can turn on some Cartier Family, lay down, hit the Beam, go to sleep. All right, guys. So what you want to do is go to beam.com and put in the discount code Cartier. And that's going to get you 35% off. That's not no little discount. That is a big discount, y'all. Beam is really blessing. It's a company that, has value similar to ours, and they really just want to help. So 35% off with the code Cartier.
Mr. Roman, are you aware that we are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban?
Whoa.
Yes, sir. Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Hamzi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Qataiba Hezbollah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams in Syria. Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid. Let's use Gaza as our case study. $2.1 billion in American taxpayers' money to Gaza since October 7th when Hamas invaded southern Israel. USAID money was going in terms of an emergency use authorization to try to go to parties that USAID formerly had a relationship with in the Gaza Strip. They had to have been vetted by OFAC. They should have been vetted against the special designated terror list from the State Department and from other Treasury organizations.
Why nobody's in jail,
Waivers were granted because they said that there was an emergency use to have that money come in to Gaza, thereby jettisoning the usual typical screening procedures. As a result, 90% of aid that was going from the United States by way of its agents in Gaza ended up in Hamas-controlled areas.
Now that's
pretty insane.
That just kind of pissed me off.
Insane.
So our government's funding these terrorist organizations.
Yes, and then they tried to make Tulsi seem like she was some type of enemy to the United States, and she was keeping it 100 about this.
So, so sad to say this. So
I'm finna get pissed.
October 7th.
Oh, we've been through that.
Was funded by us.
Yes.
Probably. I think there's a good chance.
When Joe Biden unfroze the money, we knew that then.
You look like you got a tampon in it right now.
And this really, Elon Musk got very upset about this. He genuinely seemed like emotional in an interview about this. I want to just play. He just really got in his feelings about this. I want to play this for you and get your response.
You had Tim Waltz, who's a huge jerk, running around on stage with a Tesla stock price, where the stock price had gone in half. And he was overjoyed. What an evil thing to do. What a creep. What a jerk. Like, who derives joy from that?
Should have said it. Fuck him, Elon.
Are you a creep and a jerk?
Well, that's a badge of honor if he thinks I am. Look, it's not like personal with him. It's a little bit personal. I don't want to be disingenuous. The guy does bother me. It's a little bit personal. But look, my beef on this is that this guy is out there crying about his portfolio and about stock while I'm making, a comment. And my mom's Social Security check this month is late. That he's attacking the portfolios of working Minnesotans and working Americans.
You laugh at
these programs
something that benefits their portfolio.
Scheme. He's taking it and laughing with his chainsaw about destroying the lives and undermining things and institutions that make life better for Minnesotans. Of course he doesn't care about these agencies because he has all this money. Can you imagine being the richest man in the world and taking offense that I said something about Tesla stock?
I would.
What
I really don't like Tim Walz at all.
Wasn't Minnesota have like a bunch of stock or something?
Yeah, Tesla. He laughed at it taking. So I'm like, don't try to play like you're taking the high road here.
You almost have to be an amateur psychologist on this. It's like Trump is stuck in the 80s. His music, his clothing, his thinking. He has been on this tariff thing forever, and every economist, conservative or liberal, will tell you they just simply don't work. We use them strategically, but he doesn't fundamentally understand how trade works. It goes back to what I continue to say. I think the biggest myth perpetuated on this country is that Donald Trump understands anything about business. He's bankrupt
$5 trillion. Now
he's bankrupting this country. So I appreciate you talking about this. This is a tax on working people that we've not seen in any of our lifetimes, and it is going to have dramatic effect.
Bro, I think Apple just funded $500 billion to the United States.
I don't want to hear what these people are talking about.
I don't understand what they be talking about.
These people are building factories in the United States. Yeah. American company cars are actually making cars in America now.
Yeah, I don't know what their points are. I don't really even care anymore. We know they're full of crap.
Semiconductor chips are getting built in the United States of America now. We'll do this jolly tampon teddy bear stuffing feel of joy, motherfucker won't.
And this really,
bro.
Apple have to. Apple and Meta then.
Apple have to, bro.
Yep,
they have to.
Bro, we know they're opening up a place here in Houston. So of course they did money.
So I'm not surprised,
Taiwan,
bro. Y'all,
SoftBank.
If you surprised, you shouldn't be surprised.
United Arab
Emirates.
Ain't that an airplane?
$1.4 trillion.
Emirates is an airplane company. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia, $600 billion.
21 billion from Hyundai.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
he's not a good businessman.
Yeah. Bro, 500 billion from OpenAI.
Teddy Bear Tim.
Yeah, man. Tim Pon Tim is a loser, man. As a young man, he's not someone I want to grow up and be like. So,
and then we have this.
When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I want you all to remain as encouraged as possible. You know, one of the songs that has come to mind as MAGA continues to try to figure out what type of attack will work on me. Just to be clear, I know some of y'all were out there and you were concerned about all the hate and that kind of stuff. I want y'all to know that, like, MAGA there's nothing that I could ever say or do that would make MAGA be like, that's our girl, right? Because, like, first of all, ton of racist. So never happening, right?
She said, I have no experience, but I'm black. So what does that fall under?
Why would I go to an interview and say that?
And then when I call you that, and then I'm racist for calling you what you just said you are.
I don't know what her point was. I really don't.
Are y'all that dumb?
To have the sitting attorney general go on, and I'm going to call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me.
Fox?
To have her go on
it's all bullshit.
And to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong. Because here it is, she is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information and they are believing
she's a victim.
That simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing.
I can see what she's coming
That she
from.
then
No, I
wanted to
can't.
then
She's a
politicize something.
victim.
I'm not saying she's a victim.
Get
Hold
out.
on.
Nah, bro.
She didn't tell nobody to blow anything up. And we had this argument
She
before.
cheated on. She cheated on. She didn't condemn it. All she said was
She should've
condemn and
condemned it,
apologize.
and that's why I said
now
it.
she's saying,
no,
she
no.
threatened me.
It was wrong.
She's a
It
victim.
was wrong. I said
it was
it.
wrong. Okay, so then don't.
I didn't say she didn't tell nobody. I didn't say
Those words-
Don't sit here and say you can get it.
Those words should not be coming out of a person's mouth that couldn't say sorry to a disabled person.
All she said was say sorry and condemn the violence. Oh, she attacked me. Oh, I'm a victim.
So she lied.
I don't want to hear this shit no more. Please, can we fucking be done? Please, I can't take it. I cannot take it.
Simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm going to say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law.
So you have done the most craziest shit the past 2 weeks, and now you the victim?
Nah, they were talking about retribution. Like, we didn't just see them put up a bunch of fake charges on Trump. Oh, this DOJ is about retribution, not the law. Oh, but this same DOJ that put ICE out to get illegal criminals off the street and illegal gang members out of our country is not following the law and not trying to uphold the law. Whatever. I've heard enough, man. I've heard enough. That's the same. Those are the same people that you advocated for. But the DOJ's wrong. Oh, the DOJ's wrong for telling you to apologize and condemn violence. Oh my gosh, you're wrong. You're retribution. I'm a victim. Man, turn this shit off,
Yeah,
bro.
you can't make this crop up, though.
Gosh.
I mean, this is bad.
All she did was say sorry and condemn violence. Oh, you're wrong. I'm a victim. If you would have saw the whole thing,
We're out of here, guys.